So hello again. Hello, everyone. Anyone who's listening back to this on the recording, you're welcome. A big virtual hug in the mind, the love in our mind. So this is all about mind training, all about our mind, not about bodies, all about going within and doing more and more work with letting go of the blocks in our mind so that the presence of an all-encompassing love can be in our awareness. And that all-encompassing love is one. It shows us we don't have to see oneness. We're going to experience everything as oneness. The experience of oneness shows us that what we're seeing as through the eyes and hearing through our ears and touching is false. It's an illusion. And we're very, very gently brought to that awareness. And so the Course in Miracles is sort of the bridge between the world we think is real and the real world, which is what you might say, the happy dream. It's really hard to put words to anything that you experience, which is outside what we think is our experience, the egoic experience. Because words are made by our mind that was separate. And so we're trying to use these words to point us to truth, but they're not the truth. The words aren't. The experience is. That's why he says, don't waste time on debating about Course, who's right and who's wrong about the Course. What we want to put our focus on is having a correction. So just really feeling into that he's asking us to allow ourselves to be corrected so we have a change of perception, and therefore we can experience this deep and abiding peace that is available to us, which can not be disturbed. And if it is disturbed a little bit, it's very easily and gently corrected. So today I'll be reading, Shannon and I will be reading through the rest of that section in chapter 27. We'll finish that off. Then we're going to read through lesson 159, which ties in nicely with this section. So this was guided, and then actually I've lost my place. Do you remember what that lesson was? That was
lesson 108.
Lesson 108. So that was guided, but I wasn't guided to put a bookmark in there. But you see, even if you forget, something else will come in and help you. So you can just have a little laugh. It's going to come in, whatever you need to do. And even if you do something else, it's got the same message. You literally cannot get this wrong. You can't get it wrong because nothing is going wrong. So we just, that's the happy dream, right? Is just seeing that there's nothing to forgive. But let's do forgiveness anyway, because if we do have, we've got this sort of false thoughts and false beliefs in our mind about ourselves and our brother. That's really what the Course is about. That we just think our brother's guilty, separate, horrible, mean, nasty. But there's no brother out there. It's a projection. And it's coming all from this particular part of our mind that we're not even aware of. And it's like, watching the movie at the cinemas. We can't see the projector, but that projector that's projecting the movie is in our mind. And that's why it says, I am the dreamer of the dream. And this is what we'll get to in the end. We'll get to this section. That's why I was guided to this, because this is the healing of the dream. So he's going through in this section many parts of how we are keeping ourselves stuck in a dream. And last week, I just want to touch on a summary of last week so we can go forward and finish this section. The summary of what we read last week is really this: behold me, brother, at your hand I die. We hold a picture of our crucified body in front of our brother. Now, I hope, if you didn't get some deeper understanding of this last week, that you might have during the week had some insight that, yes, I see what I'm doing. There is this deeper feeling that I want my brother to see what he's done to me. So I'm going to show him my sick body, my mental illness. I'm going to talk about my stress and depression to him, or let him know, hey, I'm really stressed out over this. I'm going to show you the pain and suffering you are causing. This is my crucified body or my crucified mind that I'm showing you, so you can know that you're the guilty one and you did this to me. That's all the ego that keeps us stuck. Jesus wants us to see what we're doing so we can change. He wants us to look at the ego. The only way we can become freer, very gently free, we don't have to do it all in one day. He's going to guide us very gently. But he needs to see what we're doing. And what he's telling us is, you're continually doing this, but there's nothing outside of you. So the person that you're trying to make guilty isn't even there. He's a projection in your mind. You're projecting onto a shadow figure. You can't see that. And that awareness that there's no one outside you comes in as you work with the Holy Spirit and let go. But for me, I think I've shared on my journey, I said, look, it really looks like there's someone outside me. I can't pretend that there's not. He said, you don't have to pretend. It's my job to show you that there's no one, that you're projecting onto an image. And I said, well, you'll need to do a lot of work to show me that, because I am so stuck in the illusion. Oh, no, I didn't say the illusion, because I was stuck. I said to him, it really looks like someone's doing this to me. And so that's the Holy Spirit's job. So he went to work in my mind to show me in the particular way for me. So he's here for all of us. He's going to bring the lesson in for you in your particular way. So we just have to trust. We have to say to him, look, this is how it looks to me. It looks like someone's really attacking me, or I'm scared of this person, or we have to go within and ask him to show me how, for a miracle, a change of perception. So the Holy Spirit is the only true therapist, because he's with us wherever we go. We might go and talk to a therapist or come to this group, but all the rest of the time, the therapist is in our mind. The Spirit can speak through others, but really it's our inner guide that we want to spend and really give a lot of time and dedication and devotion to the inner guide, connecting to that, being in quietness in whatever way you can. Get quiet. This is where the help is for all of us. And yes, brother can help us, but eventually remember that Jesus said to Helen to tell Bill just to sit quietly and say, here I am, Lord. So there wasn't many great instructions. It was 4 words: be quiet, be still and know that I am God, or be still and listen. And a few weeks ago, that guidance came through to share with the group, is just to sit still and say, I am listening. So this is where it's all about. So when we come to these groups, we just really open up. And there might just be one little thing that is said, maybe even not by me, by someone else. And we don't know everything we give to him to help us. The ego will do whatever it can. It's a trickster. It will try to trick you into thinking that awakening is fearful. But Jesus promises us we're going to awaken to a beautiful peace, the peace of God. So that's why the peace of God has to be a really strong goal, because the ego mind, it values separateness, it values individuality, it values everything of the world, it values a body that it's not. And it just has to be very gently undone in our minds that we are spirit and not a body. So last week it was, brother, behold me, brother, at your hand I die. And this is, or I suffer, or I have mental issues, or I am sick, or I am at pain. And when Jesus says something like this in the Course, he's telling us that this is what we are all doing. If you're not aware of it, if you feel I don't have any connection, all I feel is sick, all I feel is stressed out, depressed, tired, anxious, sad, I've got hives, I've got stomach issues, I've got this or that. One thing about the teachings of the Course in Miracles is that you won't be aware of it, and then you will be. And once you become aware that this is what we're doing, this our secret sin, we're hiding it in our mind, that we really are trying to hold a picture of a suffering self out to everyone. And that's why we have to spend time trying to connect into this of what we're doing and give this importance, because we can, maybe if you're feeling okay at the moment and you've been sick or in pain or suffering, you can look back at a recent time when this happened and sit quietly and find in your mind how it will be shown to you. You can even say, Holy Spirit, show me who I was trying to make guilty and who it was that I was saying you're guilty and I'm innocent. And here I'm going to show you my fatigued self, my stressed out self. I'm going to tell you all about it, or show you in some way, or stop speaking to you, or stop going out, or doing whatever. So today we're going to be reading this section, and we're going to get to the words where it says, behold me, brother, at your hand I live. Now that's right at the end of this section. So where we are, and so today's talk is going to be about showing our brother, which is what he took me through. He's taking us all through this. It's the same ego and it's the same healing. So he meets us where we're at. He meets us in the belief that we're a body, in the belief that we're a suffering self, in the belief that we're vulnerable, in the belief that the world is doing this to me. He knows where we are at, stuck in this mire and unable to get out by ourselves. So an unforgiving mind is, like stuck in like he says, it's like a ball of steel. It doesn't open up to any doubt, doesn't open up to any wisdom. So forgiveness is sort of opening our minds up to perhaps there is another way. And we want to open up to another way, because when we're continually doing the same thing with the ego, trying to seek for happiness, never finding it, being upset, projecting guilt, we just there just doesn't seem to be any freedom. We're trying to escape. We might escape in sex, drugs, shopping, trying to make the body all beautiful and anything. We try to escape alcohol. You might even try to escape by, going into some sort of community where you hide out. I'm not talking about Course in Miracles communities, but that can happen as well a little bit. Generally, people go to them because they're really seeking to join and practice the course. But it can help. Sometimes people do seek just to get away. And it's not people seeking, it's the egoic thoughts. So the ego has its own plan for our salvation, and it's always got a plan. And it's like, get away from this and stop doing that and move here and move countries, move cities, move houses, move jobs, move relationships. And we get to the end of the tether where we're so fatigued and tired because it never works. We've tried all these ego-seeking ways. And so now we come to A Course in Miracles teachings, and this was my path. It's not for everyone. The Holy Spirit's got many paths, but so we'll start the reading for today. I'm going to get Shannon to read the first paragraph, and then I'll read the next two. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Cate. The strongest witness to futility that bolsters all the rest and helps them paint the picture in which sin is justified is sickness in whatever form it takes. The sick have reason for each one of their unnatural desires and strange needs. For who could live a life so soon cut short and not esteem the worth of passing joys? What pleasures could there be that will endure? Are not the frail entitled to believe that every stolen scrap of pleasure is their righteous payment for their little lives? Their death will pay the price for all of them, if they enjoy their benefits or not. The end of life must come, whatever way that life be spent, and so take pleasure in the quickly passing and ephemeral.
These are not sins, but witnesses unto the strange belief that sin and death are real, and innocence and sin will end alike within the termination of the grave. If this were true, there would be reason to remain content to seek for passing joys and cherish little pleasures where you can. Yet in this picture, is the body not perceived as neutral and without a goal inherent in itself? For it becomes the symbol of reproach, the sign of guilt, whose consequences still are there to see, so that the cause can never be denied. So just this, what these two paragraphs are really talking about is that he wants us to see that we believe that that we've got these tiny little lies where we try to get scraps of pleasure because we know we're going to death, and we're just trying to grab. We believe that the innocent, there's innocent people and there's guilty people, and that we all die. So that's just a summary of what he's saying here. And yes, because we have this belief that we're bodies and we die, and that we've only got these, maybe 100 years of time, that we've got to try and get all the scraps of pleasure, like checking off a bucket list, the little scraps of pleasure in amongst all the awful stuff we have to put up with. So this is how we feel ourselves to be. in the ego mind, ego world. So your function, so now we're getting to what he's asking us to do. Your function is to show your brother sin can have no cause. How futile must it be to see yourself a picture of the proof that what your function is can never be. The Holy Spirit's picture changes not the body into something it is not. It only takes away from it all signs of accusation and of blamefulness. Pictured without a purpose, it is seen as neither sick nor well, nor bad nor good. No grounds are offered that it may be judged in any other way at all. It has no life, but neither is it dead. It stands apart from all experiences of love or fear. For now it witnesses to nothing yet, its purpose being open, and the mind made free again to choose what it is for. Now it is not condemned, but waiting for a purpose to be given, that it may fulfill the function that it will receive. So he says this many times throughout the course about the body being repurposed, to see it as neutral. It has no life, but neither is it dead, because it's a body in a dream. It's a dream body in a dream. So when you dream at night, you see yourself as a body. It's neither alive nor dead. It's a symbol in a dream, and we can give it a new purpose in the dream basically he's probably going to go on and say it, but what I would say is that we just let it be used for his purposes. We just surrender and we say, we don't have any plan or idea. We just listen in every moment for whatever guidance is coming through to do and say. And we may get guided about, even something in the future a little bit, but generally it will be all about in the moment, just giving you guidance. So you're opening up to the inner guide, the voice of God, the Holy Spirit, just giving you what to do and what to say and where to go. And sometimes that, as I always say, sometimes that may be in silence, stay still, rest, do nothing, say nothing, because that is guidance. It's not all about being out and saying things and, saying, well, the body's neutral now, I have to give it loads and loads of purpose, it has to be doing stuff. So let the Spirit speak. So I've got to get out and speak, let the Spirit speak. So that's when that's all the surrendering. We let go and have no plan at all, absolutely no plan for it. And we just let the body now be used by the mind. So it's already being used by the ego mind. The ego is associating itself as the body. But when we're in the holy mind, when we're in God's mind, we can transcend all pain. It's literally possible to experience no pain at all. And if you do start to feel pain, you can use something to remind yourself, I'm not a body, and you can do something and have what would seem to the world that it would cause a lot of pain, that you're associated with your holy mind, the Christ mind, so intrinsically that you're not experiencing any pain at all. And this is where Jesus was when he was seemingly crucified in the dream. Of course, that's why we have no pain, because we see we're a character in a dream. We're associating that this is a dream, and our mind is with God and there's no form. So we're experiencing the dream very differently by this stage. So Shannon, I'll get you to read on.
Into this empty space, from which the goal of sin has been removed, is heaven free to be remembered. Here its peace can come, and perfect healing can take the place of death. The body can become a sign of life, a promise of redemption, and a breath of immortality to those grown sick of breathing in the fetid scent of death. Let it have healing as its purpose. Then will it send forth the message it received, and by its health and loveliness proclaim the truth and value that it represents. Let it receive the power to represent an endless life, forever unattacked. And to your brother, let its message be, behold me, brother, at your hand I live.
Isn't that beautiful? That's the healing. To remember last week, the lesson is to show our brother that he's unable to hurt us, harm us, make us move out of peace. We're to show our brother that he is not an ego, and to show our brother that I am not an ego. And so we show the evidence is that even though the body's neutral, he says that we will send forth a message to our brother by our health and loveliness. So I'm always representing health and loveliness to everyone I meet. I don't have to say anything about, not ever being sick, but it's just showing up. Maybe he'll get me to say something sometime, but very rarely. It's just the evidence of accepting the truth about myself, because the love of God can't be sick. It has no pain in it. And we're associating more and more on the journey with the love of God. We're releasing these ideas that we're a body in a little world of suffering and death. And, when you look at this world, it has to be seen. It has nothing to do with a loving God. And very gently, we just let go of the values of the world and let our inner guide us what to do and say. And the main thing is the main thing of our lives is to be corrected, constantly corrected anytime we're upset, asking, help me, I'm upset. He doesn't ask us to deny we're upset. He says, just open up anytime. He's here to help us. That's how we become free, through the correction. The correction helps bring us to peace. So why wouldn't we want a correction? Why wouldn't we want to open up and say, hey, I'm thinking about this way? He'll correct us very gently and lovingly. So we stand before our brothers. We don't have to say these words, behold me, brother, at your hand I live, no matter how he is. Our brother could be enraged in the ego, and we're just standing there. Something will, our peace and our happiness and our attitude towards our brother will be healing for him, because we will never withdraw God's love, because we're enveloped in that love, and our mind knows that I am one with my brother. It's not interested in the body and what it's got to say and its little bloody blahs. It's not interested in that, but it knows that that's happening, and the healed mind knows what to say or what to do and how to be for the healing. We don't have to work it out in the moment. We'll just know, because the guidance is there. We're connected into that inner guide that is giving us the answers. And it's not like you even have to ask, because it's just a stream of what to do and what to say. It might be just step back, rest, just maybe have some silence, listen. You know, you'll feel it. It'll just be, you know, for me, it's just like, just listen now. And then I'll be given the words to say. Then it'll be like, step back. Might be like, text a blessing the next day. I love you, brother, or I love you, whoever you are. I'm here if you'd like to talk. You know, just, it's whatever it is. It can be many different things. So the main thing is that we have to stay open. That's the hard thing, because the ego always loves to plan. You have to stay open for the guidance in the moment, right now, and it's always now. So we're always open to that inner guide leading us. And if we are really triggered and we feel really overwhelmed and we feel we can't hear the spirit, the guidance, we need to get into a place where we're on our own in quietness, maybe go for a walk or go to another room, or just go somewhere where you can get some quietness, sit quietly, just say, this is what's coming up for me, help me. You might be guided, you talk to someone, but generally for me, it was about connecting and getting that correction, that helpfulness, that change of perception, letting go, releasing this idea that I'm right. And you start to more and more see, as the observer looking at the ego's thoughts, as you do this correction, you start to come in more about seeing the thoughts of the ego and seeing the Holy Spirit's correction coming in, and you start to feel yourself as that part of the mind that's watching even the ego and the correction coming in. So the simple way to let this be achieved is merely this: to let the body have no purpose from the past. When you were sure you knew its purpose was to foster guilt. For this insists your crippled picture is a lasting sign of what it represents. This leaves no space in which a different view, another purpose, can be given it. You do not know its purpose. You but gave illusions to a purpose, to a thing you made to hide your function from yourself. This thing without a purpose cannot hide the function that the Holy Spirit gave. Let then its purpose and your function both be reconciled at last and seen as one. So a simple way to let this be achieved is merely this: to let the body have no purpose from the past. So just for a few minutes, just sit quietly and think about all the purposes that you've given the body from the past. Okay, so I was shown just then in that sort of pause period that the sentence, "Behold me, brother, at your hand I live," is, he says, how do you, these two sentences, "Behold me, brother, at your hand I live," and "to let the body have no purpose from the past," are combined. He's saying to me now that the simple way to achieve how you're going to stand before your brother and say, "Behold me, brother, at your hand I live," it is achieved through letting go all the purposes that you've given the body in the past. So in the past, you've probably tried to make it look really beautiful to seek love. You've probably tried to, garner approval, used it as a weapon of attack. I'm not speaking to you, or I'm going to say these words. I'm going to put you in your place. I'm going to tell you off. These are all the purposes the body's been given. And you've probably got many more that the Spirit's bringing in at the moment, showing you how you've used the body. So how we tell our brother, or show our brother, give our brother the message, behold me, brother, at your hand I live, is to let go of all those things, all the purposes we've given the body. And we give our body, we come to see our body as neutral, just a neutral thing, not dead or alive, just a neutral thing. Just hold it in our mind as neutral. And as we tell ourselves that it can't be sick or well or good or bad, it's neutral, we can then give this body as a neutral thing and still take care of it. And, we don't have to do anything special to it, just use it as a neutral. And he will guide you how to do this. And we don't have to go around saying to our brother, hey, look how great, look how, I'm super happy, I'm super fit. You're not guilty because, hey, look, I'm super fit, I'm at the gym. We don't have to do it that way either. We do it through this sort of, I would say, this quietness. He's guided me through this, that this is sort of like this quietness and this inner silence. Remember, we've talked about this over the last few weeks, this inner silence, this deep abiding peace, knowing that I am not a body, that the body is neutral, and I'm now using the body for the Holy Spirit to speak through, to love through, to give miracles, to see the holiness of my brother. So let it receive the power to represent an endless life. In other words, my immortal self, forever unattacked. So that's the message. This is the healing of the dream section. This is the message that he's asking us to do. He's telling us we don't have to speak out loud or show a big show to our brother. It's a consistent, every time we meet our brother, whoever they may be, we're consistently showing up as peaceful, as not sick, not in pain. We don't have to do a big show and dance about it. We just show up peaceful. And throughout, over a period of time, our brother sees that no matter what he has said or done to us in the past, or as even yesterday, we're showing up as the love of God, using this neutral thing. And so when he says that it's going to be seen as healthy and lovely, he means that that's how it's going to be viewed by the dualistic mind that believes in sickness and in health, because it is going to be seen as healthy and lovely. But it's, to us, we're seeing it as neutral, because we can see that a body can't be sick or healthy because it's a neutral thing. Only the mind can be split, the ego. Only the mind can do anything, or everything is done in the mind. The body has no autonomy to do anything. And we're all going to come along this path to experience that. And some, maybe not in this lifetime, maybe in another, but it doesn't matter. If you dedicate this life to doing as much undoing as you can, don't judge yourself, and then maybe another lifetime is given over again for it. It's the mind, the guilt in our mind is going to be slowly healed through these dream lifetimes. So it's really, really important not to concern yourself with where you're at. Only concern yourself with what is coming up for me right now. And so I'll ask for the miracle. I'll ask for a change of perception on this particular thing now. That's all we need to do. And if we don't do it, we'll have another opportunity to do that same forgiveness. He says that lessons come around time and time again. You're going to be upset by the same thing again, sometime seemingly in the future. So this world is our classroom. Lessons are going to be presented to us. If we don't learn it, we just get another chance to further down, but we will learn it. And every lesson has been learnt. And that's an interesting thing, because we're going through learning it, forgiving, but we will see that this world was over long ago. But while we believe we're here, we need correction, we need a guide to come in and help us. And so we can't get out of this ourselves. That's why it's so important to turn within and ask, really surrender yourself. It's the best thing to just say, I don't know. All my thoughts are keeping me in suffering, so I don't want them anymore. Why would I want to be living? Why would I want and seek and value thoughts that cause me to suffer? And that's where we come to really wanting to surrender and give up and come on our knees, really, and say, I want the peace of God. Don't want to keep suffering. And then we move into this really being open. We want to practice forgiveness more and more then. And there is a period of mind training. We all have to go through it, and we all go through fear, but you will be carried across. The more you surrender and allow your guide to help you, and he will speak to you. He will. He's in your mind. There's no doubt. And it is tough at times. It's not easy. It wasn't easy for me either. The ego is very loud. We're very attracted to it. It's going to try to tempt you. It's a seductress. It's going to try to find something to seduce you into believing that someone is guilty. Time and time again, you'll be seduced, attracted to the guilt. And that's okay. As long as you can see, you'll eventually see how you're attracted to it. And you just keep asking for help. So we have to be constantly asking for help. Notice it, ask for help. So lesson 159, I give the miracles I have received. We're going to be going through this lesson today and then doing a little cross blessing. Shannon, would you like to start?
I give the miracles I have received. No one can give what he has not received. To give a thing requires first you have it in your own possession. Here the laws of heaven and the world agree, but here they also separate. The world believes that to possess a thing, it must be kept. Salvation teaches otherwise. To give is how to recognize you have received. It is the proof that what you have is yours.
You understand that you are healed when you give healing. You accept forgiveness as accomplished in yourself when you forgive. You recognize your brother as yourself, and thus do you perceive that you are whole. There is no miracle you cannot give, for all are given you. Receive them now by opening the storehouse of your mind where they are laid and giving them away.
Christ's vision is a miracle. It comes from far beyond itself, for it reflects eternal love and the rebirth of love which never dies, but has been kept obscure. Christ's vision pictures heaven, for it sees a world so like to heaven that what God created perfect can be mirrored there. The darkened glass the world presents can show but twisted images in broken parts. The real world pictures heaven's innocence.
Christ's vision is the miracle in which all miracles are born. It is their source, remaining with each miracle you give, and yet remaining yours. It is the bond by which the giver and the receiver are united in extension here on earth as they are one in heaven. Christ beholds no sin in anyone, and in his sight the sinless are as one. Their holiness was given by his Father and himself.
Christ's vision is the bridge between the worlds, and in its power can you safely trust to carry you from this world into one made holy by forgiveness. Things which seem quite solid here are merely shadows there, transparent, faintly seen, at times forgot, and never able to obscure the light that shines beyond them. Holiness has been restored to vision, and the blind can see.
This is the Holy Spirit's single gift, the treasure house to which you can appeal with perfect certainty for all the things that can contribute to your happiness. All are laid here already. All can be received but for the asking. Here the door is never locked, and no one is denied his least request or his most urgent need. There is no sickness not already healed, no lack unsatisfied, no need unmet within this golden treasury of Christ.
Here does the world remember what was lost when it was made. For here it is repaired, made new again, but in a different light. What was to be the home of sin becomes the center of redemption and the hearth of mercy, where the suffering are healed and welcome. No one will be turned away from this new home, where his salvation waits. No one is stranger to him. No one asks for anything of him except the gift of his acceptance, of his welcoming.
Christ's vision is the holy ground in which the lilies of forgiveness set their roots. This is their home. They can be brought from here back to the world, but they can never grow in its unnourishing and shallow soil. They need the light and warmth and kindly care Christ's charity provides. They need the love with which he looks on them, and they become his messengers who give as they received.
Take from his storehouse, that its treasures may increase. His lilies do not leave their home when they are carried back into the world. Their roots remain. They do not leave their source, but carry its beneficence with them and turn the world into a garden like the one they came from, and to which they go again with added fragrance. Now they are twice blessed. The messages they brought from Christ have been delivered and returned to them, and they return them gladly unto him.
Behold the store of miracles set out for you to give. Are you not worth the gift when God appointed it be given you? Judge not God's Son, but follow in the way he has established. Christ has dreamed the dream of a forgiven world. It is his gift whereby a sweet transition can be made from death to life, from hopelessness to hope. Let us an instant dream with him. His dream awakens us to truth. His vision gives the means for a return to our unlost and everlasting sanctity in God. That's the end of the lesson. So just a couple of sentences here. You recognize your brother as yourself, and thus do you perceive that you are whole. Christ beholds no sin in anyone, and in his sight the sinless are as one. Christ's vision is the bridge between the worlds, and in its power can you safely trust to carry you from this world into the one made holy by forgiveness. So this Christ vision, it was what I was guided to focus on towards the end of the journey with the Course and with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And he's told me this is sort of something that I will continue going back to with groups and whoever I'm talking to, whether I bless them in my mind or whether we do a blessing to each other. So the main crux of the Christ vision blessing is that as I give the blessing, I receive it. So this is this, as I give the miracles I have received. So this, if we can understand that in the world, when we give something away, it seems to go. But when we give away this blessing, we strengthen it in ourselves. We feel it in ourselves. It changes our mind. So we are giving and receiving at the same time. It works in different laws from the laws of the ego. So he's asking us to keep giving this blessing away and receiving it. So let's start the blessing. Okay, so lesson 108, we're going to just use this really lovely blessing. Now, Shannon has written it out, and So, Shannon, should we record this blessing, or what do you feel? Should we end the recording now?
Yes, I'll end the recording and then I'll allow people to unmute themselves.
Just before you end it, just let me say, for anyone listening to the recording, there's other recordings on the YouTube channel that have the Christ blessing, so it'll be very similar to that. And if you would like to experience, be part of a Christ blessing, you're welcome to come and join the Satsang with us and have the experience with us, or listen to the Christ blessing and do it along with us and really, say the words out loud. It doesn't matter, as long as it's the calling of your heart to bless. So let's thank you for listening, and let's finish the recording now. Thank you.